All right, we are continuing to get back in the habit of reviewing my trades each morning, and that's what we're doing. So today's Friday, and we ended off the week on an absolutely fantastic note. We didn't take a single red trade today. That is for both options and the live futures trading we did right afterwards, and ended up being a very, very good day. So I'm going to review it. Pretty basic though. If we take a look at the pre-market analysis, this is currently 1 minute before market open. You can see that we are consolidating. And this isn't necessarily bullish or bearish consolidation. There isn't a large defined trend beforehand. But pretty much as you can see, we have major pivots above and below. And while we're in heavy demand, we're also kind of against supply. So these zones aren't really a big factor for me. But if I go ahead and mark out all these zones, all these pivots, here are the major ones. And obviously we have this one's here. We go back in time. This is a very big one as well. And then we have these. And we have even more down here, which I'll mark out later if we get that far. Same thing on ES. We have this. We have these right here. This. These right here. This is a perfect double bottom on ES. That very bearish. Very likely to break. So because that perfect double bottom, personally for me, I'm leaning a little bit more bearish or bullish for a break to the downside. But I can trade either way. Essentially, I told you guys before market open, I said, good morning team. I'll be triggered into calls or puts depending on how the market opens. Hopefully it's not a fake out. So I told you guys in advance. If we start dropping at market open, I'm going to be in there probably before the first candle closes. And the reason for that is I'll be whichever one is weaker. And I am leaning a little bit more for a break to the downside because of this perfect double bottom. But if the candle gets all the way down here, well, or down here, I can't take the trade anymore because the risk reward is screwed up. I'm technically triggered in when a vast majority of this bounce is invalidated, or these selling wicks are invalidated, and I can take a trade up to the pre-market highs. So normal trade, normal liquidity momentum analysis, but it's just going to happen very fast. And it definitely did. Right at market open, I filled QQQ calls, sorry, not calls, puts, right here. Now it did dump way hard after I filled. I filled it roughly 60 cents. And that was the first candle. I filled all the way up here. So it was beautiful. It was a gorgeous prediction, a very easy trade and alert to miss. It's if you're waiting for my alert, it's impossible to take that trade. So you gotta, be an adult and take your own trade. And which is why I posted my analysis beforehand. I literally told you guys. Oh, I said in QQQ puts and pinged you guys right after I filled, and then typed the formal fill afterwards. Um, but you have to be an adult and actually know how to trade yourself. So when I send out great technical analysis, you are waiting, not on Discord, but on your own active trader, waiting to fill. So this was beautiful. Right out the gate, this was 40 something percent. Closed it on this red candle right here. Literally a 45-second trade. I got 47% gains. I think it went more than that, but I got roughly 47%. Fastest trade of the month, easily. I'm like, all right, well, that's over. Now, if we go back up, I'm pretty bullish. But, we have some decent pivots below. We have this one down here. We have this one. NQ below this. We have a couple, right? We have this one all the way down here. And then these, which are a bit more minor. So, I'm going to need an excuse to enter. See what happens. I'll just delete these as not sweeping them. It's a bounce. Now, I was bearish on this bounce because there was a perfect double bottom. Looks like it didn't happen yet, so it's kind of a spoiler. When did I fill my next trade? 6:37 is when I filled. All right, let's see what price action did. We are dumping. I can't enter. I'm bearish for us to break this demand. This is a pretty strong trend coming from supply. It's only 30-minute demand. I'm bearish for it. NQ's also got pivots down here. ES is very weak. But we bounce and we put in a perfect double bottom. Yes, I can trade this. So on this bounce, I entered. It was right as this candle closed and the next candle opened red, I entered. Now it is kind of risky, entering puts on a bounce in demand, but the demand was pretty weak, and I'm kind of entering against a possible liquidity sweep, even though it did get a lot under it. But we do have perfect double bottom. Trend is strong, or was strong. Demand is weak. ES is weak in itself. This is a trade I took. So I filled the SPX puts roughly here, right when the next candle opened to red. This was my bare minimum PT. And I said if I stop loss beforehand, if I stop loss, I'll likely be triggered into QQQ calls for the pre-market pivots, the sell side pivots up here. However, I'll still be bearish for this double bottom to break at some point. This double bottom is a really big deal, especially because the points are very far apart. So huge, huge bias builder for me. Turned into a triple bottom, and I forgot, but these puts were chopping to hell. Not only was ES flipping extremely strong, but these puts were absolutely decaying, so I was not a happy camper. I was barely break even right here. I was red on the trade right here, and I've only been in for a couple minutes. And ES is a lot stronger than NQ because NQ is dumping. So very frustrating. I thought I was going to stop out, but it is a perfect triple bottom, and that's the frustrating part. If I stop out, I'm still going to be bearish. So those are the worst kind of stop outs. But then this happened, and this was glorious. I mean, this was absolutely glorious. Looks like instead of a short squeeze, a stop loss rate took place and freaking printed on it. And it did go down quite a ways. I did take pretty much most of my profits here, but it did continue down a bit further to here, or even further than that, I believe. Let me see. Where did it actually go to? I don't know. I was pretty much out of the trade. I sold my runner like here, I believe. No, I sold pretty much at the daily demand, so a little bit above. I sold roughly somewhere up here, my runners. So on the bulk of my sales, I got roughly 40 something to 50% gains. I think it was close to 50%. But sold my runner at 96% gain. So right out of the gate, I get a 47% green trade, full size position. And then on this full size position, I get lucky and then end up averaging with my runner probably like 65-ish percent. So this was a huge trade. Huge trade. Love to see it. It was beautiful. And now I got nothing. We're pretty deep in demand at this point. The next pivots I have are right here, some minor ones right here. Nothing crazy though. You could, I'll mark out one of these pivots so you can see that it's here and it's pretty minor. There we go. And NQ. Let's see what. I mean, I was bearish for it to get to demand. This was a pivot right here, a pretty major one, and there was nothing below. But we did have daily demand on NQ, which was a big target for me. Anyways. So I'm thinking I may be done trading. And I end up entering one more trade at 56. Oh, it was right here. I forgot about this trade. I was just more so focused on the trade. Sorry, my futures trade was, I held it for longer than an hour and it ended up playing out. It was right down here. So I was looking for the double bottom, but then I realized that wasn't an options trade this morning. All right, so we pretty much have a bullish liquidity sweep on NQ. It's much stronger than ES. ES is in strong demand. Looks pretty good for bounce. Plus we got a volume spike here. What I'm thinking is, okay, NQ is a lot stronger than ES, which I do like, or at least I thought so at the time. I think we have a pretty decent chance that we get to the 38.2% on both of these. Now, NQ is stronger than ES, so my PT is really for the 50% retracement. It's not a fib level, but the 50%. And by that time, ES should also be the 38.2%. Personally, for me, though, I entered half size because, I entered half size because we missed demand. And if we made a lower low, I didn't want to get stopped out. The trade was not invalidated. And I entered really early into this candle. I filled it 65 cents on this trade. You can see how weak ES is. But then this happens. So this would have been my stop loss if I was full size and in futures with a mechanical stop loss. But then this happens. I had my finger on the trigger to average down because this was the whole plan. This is what I wanted. ES makes a lower low if needed, sweeps the pivot, NQ gets demand, I average down. It's now a full size trade and we take it on up. Well, NQ missed it and put in a perfect double bottom at low a day. And on NQ, double bottoms and double tops are unicorns. Now, this perfect double bottom is only roughly 6 candles apart, so it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's a pretty big deal for shorter term day trades. So I missed it. These calls dropped to like 50 cents, I think, and it would have been a fantastic average down. But now, I missed it, and this was a news candle too, and it didn't come back, and I ended up selling. Here. Personally. Now, they did end up going a bit higher, but you can guess it. I got 43% gains again. Now, that was only a half size win, unfortunately. It was literally one tick off from triggering me into my average down. Was going to be perfect, but unfortunately, it was still half size. I couldn't average up on it because now we have perfect double bottom. And yeah, so that was my day on options. Wrapped up my day there. So QQQ puts initially plus 47%. SPX puts got to plus 96%. They, of course, did get higher than that, but that's what I sold my runner at. And then these QQQ calls got 43%. Only half size. Should have been full. But now, of course, with this perfect double bottom, I did have strong bias. And I sent out the TA alert saying if most of this move invalidates, I am pretty bearish for it. I ended up entering early on. That's a beautiful supply test there in rejection. Wait for it. I entered my puts. You'll see a buying wick the second the buying wick invalidates, which is here. No. Nope. One more candle maybe? Yeah, here. I entered my shorts here. Live with all of you guys. And this turned into a pretty big trade. Just took it to demand. I had a better average. My average was a bit higher. This was like a 2.1 restored is what I remember. Yeah, something like that. That was pretty much where it was. And it worked out. I did say my PT was too close, though, because NQ ended up flipping weak at the very end. And it hit PT before ES got to this low, but ended up being a pretty big futures trade of nearly 70 points on NQ. So that was my day. Fantastic way to end off this week. Very happy with the results. And if you guys have any questions regarding any of the analysis that was performed today, type in chat. Otherwise, that is it, and I will let you guys know when this recording is posted to YouTube. Oh, everyone's good. All right, sweet. Well, I'll see you guys in roughly 40 minutes for the quiz, and then we have that bonus TA lesson today, right after the quiz, and then we will be getting on with our weekend. Also, all of you guys that have won giveaways recently, I haven't paid any. Well, I paid a lot of you guys, but I haven't paid you guys for yesterday's. So I will be sending that out today or tomorrow. Solid day. Awesome, dude. Yeah, so many of you guys killed it today. It was awesome. It was a very good day. Very good execution, good psychology, good strategy, great analysis. It was just a very good day. Very happy. But Lopez, I see that you're typing. I don't know if you're typing something long, so I would give you like 20 more seconds. I have a giveaway. Yeah, if you DM'd me, then I'll get to you. But all right, I'll post this to YouTube. I'll let you guys know when it's posted, and I will see you guys soon for the other events to finish off this fantastic day.